What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is the 35th anniversary of a Spike Lee joint. Actually, the Spike Lee joint, the original, Do the Right Thing. Uh, and caught this on Peacock, so, uh, you know, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to put out this review, so maybe it's still there, maybe it's not. I don't know. Check for yourself, see what's happening. But do the right thing and watch the film. See, I worked it in there. I got the dad joke in there of recycling the title. Anyway, I'm for my blind audience, I've got a purple hat on and I'm wearing a Toon Squad shirt. Probably the least uh you know, appropriate for, although my baseball cap is a New York baseball cap. So it's in some ways at least appropriate for the film. So, watching Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing 35 years later is it's such a uh, surprising prophetic reminder of how little we've actually come out. Like we've basically gone nowhere societally. Um, it's you know, it's almost like Spike Lee was commenting on gentrification before gentrification became a thing. He was commenting on police brutality before it seemed like it was happening all the time. He was commenting on uh, like this movie is ahead of its time. You know, you're like, oh well, you tell somebody what this movie's about, and they're like, oh yeah, did it just come out? Like, is this uh, you know, coming out in a few months? And you're like, no, it came out in 1989. Like this, he was commenting on stuff that was happening 35 years ago, and we just haven't moved the needle. So, very, very weird to think of that. Also, the cast here is just tremendous. It is very weird that Danny Aiello is the one person who got an Oscar nomination out of what is like predominantly a black cast. But you know, I like Danny as an actor. I'm not going to say he's a bad actor, but I'm going to say probably Ozzie Davis should have picked up a nomination along with him. You know, in 1989, there's a pretty big ensemble here. I think we probably could have swung another nomination, maybe swung it Ozzie's way. He's such a classic, well-respected actor, and he's in such a role that is, it seems almost in contrast to everything that I've ever seen him in. He's like sort of like instantly likable. This is not that. So, yeah, I mean, he's even possibly. I'm not gonna say like I'm well versed in every single inch of Ozzie Davis's career, but generally, I've always gotten that opinion from Ozzie's roles, and I thought, in general, he played possibly against type really well. John Turturro's in this. He's really good, as usual. Rosie Perez introducing Rosie Perez, Giancarlo Esposito, who's been around a hell of a lot longer than you think. I think people just like he was in Breaking Bad, and then people were like, "Oh my god, that unknown actor that we have no who did not know who he was until now. Thank God somebody brought him to our attention, so we can now put him in everything." Definitely, Breaking Bad was a turning point for Giancarlo's career in terms of going from like, uh, "Who are you?" character actor to the Giancarlo who takes on a lot more leading roles. He less he started becoming less of a character actor and more of a leading person, even anchoring something like Kaleidoscope on Netflix. So Spike Lee himself is acting in this as he has done before, and well, actually, as he will do after this. um, and I don't know. It just starts off. It's a hot summer day in New York City, and every day's hot, and tempers are hot and flared, and Spike Lee's not afraid to show you sort of the tensions varying levels of racial tension and the dynamics and relationships that people have and all these different characters. It feels like a lived-in neighborhood. Feels very personal to Spike Lee in many ways. Like this is something he really wants to say, like he's paying homage to something. But at the same time, a lot of his films are very uh, activist based, in so much that they always have a purpose. Uh, e- Girl Six is probably like the one where I'm like, if there's a purpose to Girl Six, somebody can let me know what that is. But the rest of them, you can kind of pick up on what he's trying to put down. There's a couple things that are in there that are just entertainment. I think Inside Man, he just wanted to show people, yeah, I can do the standard blockbuster thing. I think he tried that again with Old Boy, and it just didn't really work. Um, but Spike just should have known. That's the only my only broad criticism for Spike Lee is Old Boy. Like he should have known better. That's hubris. That's what created Old Boy. Spike is the kind of director that I expected him to look at Old Boy and go, the first one is fine. It doesn't need to be remade. But we keep having these directors that are like, oh no, I really want to remake that story for English language audiences. Why can't we encourage people to watch international features? Like what? I feel like this is just leading to like some eventual Ari Aster remake of Parasite. You know what I'm saying? Like the film won the Oscar for Best Picture. It doesn't need to be remade. it's it's fine. um, yeah, it feels weird in his resume to say that Spike Lee directed Old Boy, but this feels like the quintessential Spike Lee joint. Do the right thing, you know. I've seen most of his stuff. I know I still need to see. I haven't seen like Crooklyn. There are a couple things in there that I haven't seen. So, but I'm a fan. I think he's a good director, and this film hits you hard when you realize, shit, 35 years ago he was making movies about this, and this could be today, and I don't think anybody would notice the difference. Like if you could convince somebody that this movie was made, I don't know how you would do that because even the soundtrack sounds a little aged. Even a blind person would be like, "Really? They did some really cool tricks here with the aging of the sound." You know, um, but even if you could convince somebody that this was made today, I think they'd be like, "Oh yeah, well this feels like it was made in response to something like George Floyd." Well, no, actually, it wasn't. It was made a long time ago in response to other things that were happening 35 years ago. So, but definitely check it out. I would say it's an absolute must. It's 35 years of do the right thing, and I don't know. The world doesn't need. YouTube is full of white male film critics uh, who have lots of opinions on films like Do the Right Thing, and I'm aware of that. And I'm not gonna like deep dive here into what I'm sure I don't know 100 people who look exactly like me have already done. What I will say is I thought the audio description track here was really nice. It described stuff that I remembered really well. I didn't remember this film perfectly, but it brought out a lot of things, brought back a lot of things that I remembered. I'm not gonna say this is my favorite Spike Lee movie either. I don't want to make that lie. I want to say it's profound in a way that I recognize it, but at the same time, for me, I think Spike, when he sort of built his ability to entertain, to use a large budget, to manage his actors and everything, and to also tell an impactful story. For me, I was really impressed with Black Klansman. I thought that was a really good film. Uh, and I think that might be my favorite of his. Question mark? I also really love Inside Man, but I feel like that's just copping out. I mean, he did make a damn good movie there, but it's just it doesn't feel like a Spike Lee movie at all. Like, it just, it feels like if you say Inside Man is your favorite Spike Lee movie, it just means you don't like Spike Lee movies. So I wanna be very careful and just not put that out there for the world, but I have to recognize that he made a damn good film, in Inside Man. But I do really love, uh, BlacKkKlansman. Anyway, this is, I don't know, this is like, this and Malcolm X, I feel like are like must-sees just for various different reasons. I love the way that this film ends with the quotes, and I love that the audio description gets to read those quotes. That, thank you. Uh, you know, that was nice. Um, so yeah, 35 years of Do the Right Thing, and I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna say it's an A because of course it is. It's not, no, it's not a disavowed movie for me. I just admit it's not maybe my favorite Spike Lee movie, but it is possibly the most important Spike Lee movie, and that says something. Not always is the best also the most important. Those don't always have to correlate, but this is probably the most important. This is if somebody came to me and which I've actually had in my real job. I work with kids who come from all different sorts of walks of life and sometimes come from different countries. And I absolutely did have somebody who came from another country and wanted to immerse themselves in American cinema and was always asking me questions about like film and what they should watch and making lists and then coming back to me and telling me about these films that and they're like, oh yeah, oh my god, that was really good. Oh yeah, I really love that. Oh, that was, you know, yeah, absolutely. If somebody was like, I've never seen a Spike Lee film, I'd be like, well, watch Do the Right Thing because it embodies so much of what he is. It's also like an hour shorter than Malcolm X, so it's a little bit more accessible of a film that also embodies because Malcolm X, I would say, also embodies who he is as a director. But it's good to see people sort of at the beginning of their career before people start handing them money and being like, "Oh, make $50 million movies for us, make these huge budgets, and send them set that free in the world." Um, so yeah, this would be if somebody had truly never seen a Spike Lee movie before, I would start them on Do the Right Thing, unless I thought they were not really in like, unless I knew them better as a person, and I was like, I Inside Man, go watch and then watch something else, but Inside Man is definitely the most accessible. Like if somebody's coming to me out of the Fast and Furious franchise and I'm like, I really love the Fast and Furious franchise and I want to know more about cinema, I would be like, okay, well watch Inside Man first. It's just, you're coming at it from a completely different angle. I don't know. People have messed you up. You just so, but happy 35th anniversary to a Best Picture nominee. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.